the Aces and the Dallas Wings played yesterday as well, and they announced like a big switch up in the lineup, and Jewell Loyd came off the bench and Kierstan Bell moved into the starting lineup. And the Jewell Loyd going to the bench didn't actually surprise me. I kind of was wondering at what point Becky would try that. I thought she should. And I've been in multiple post-game conferences where she said that Jewell has suggested it and asked for it, right? So this is a player who's willing to, a veteran player, a champion, who's willing to do it. And that's like the biggest part of that, right? I think getting someone to buy into doing that. We've seen on like championship teams, that was like a big deal for Klay Thompson in the NBA on the Warriors, right? Like players aren't willing to do that, and she is. So I was wondering when she was going to try that, and she did. She pulled it out yesterday. I don't think people were certain who was going to go into the starting lineup. A lot of people were talking about Aaliyah and NY, but it ended up being Kierstan Bell. And the two of them had amazing games. Like Jewell Loyd was sensational yesterday off the bench. I don't know if this is the answer and now this fixes the Aces, but 20 points. She was hyper efficient, Roz, as you can see, a +8, 6 of 11 for the field. She's been shooting lights out from 3 this year anyway. It's her 2 that's let her down, and she's not finishing that well, but from 3, she's been great. And then Kierstan, she gets this start, and I just gotta really shout out Kierstan because she's a player who gets a lot of like heat on Twitter from fans, and they're critical of her. And you know, to put up 19, she was knocking down the tray. She shot 55% yesterday. Just 2 really big games from them. And Jackie Young was great yesterday in the game. Like the Aces got contributions from all over their roster that Asia Wilson didn't have to like go overboard, especially the way that the Wings were defending her. She still obviously had a big impact on the game, but the contributions came from everywhere, and it was like a really nice collective team win.
Yeah, and there's so much to address there. I mean, first, Asia Wilson didn't have to do a lot, quote unquote, but she still had a near triple-double.
Yes.
14 points, 10 rebounds, 7 assists. I'm still going. 4 blocks.
Yeah.
2 steals.
Exactly.
We're just talking about someone who was competing on both ends. And the other number that really stands out for me, 30 assists. Team assists for the Aces. Everyone was getting each other, I think on 36 made field goals.
Yeah.
So like everyone was getting each other involved and making things happen. It was a really good game for everyone. And I loved your call out of KB, Kierstan Bell, because I loved her energy. I liked the way she moved without the ball. I liked the way she attacked the basket. I liked the way she ran her lane. Like she spaced out along the 3-point line from jump. She had contributions spread out throughout the game, across 4 quarters, in a very measured way. For Jewell Loyd, I felt that I was just happy to see the ball go through the bucket for her.
Yeah.
And whatever the vehicle is for that, whether that is coming off the bench or sometimes that could alleviate a little bit of pressure, coming off a bench is not always a demotion or a negative thing. You know,
not at all.
Sometimes it's maybe just more about a fit or timing to allow you to enter the game the proper way, or a group where you can be isolated or featured a special way. And I watched Jewell's minutes there in the game, and I thought, look, a lot of her scoring happened 4th quarter. The game was already kind of, being pulled away by the Aces, but it's still important just to get these great runs in and great looks at the rim. She spotted up along the 3-point line and made open threes.
Yeah.
She took advantage. If there was a smaller defender, she posted up.
She did.
She came down in transition, defense off of her. She pulled up. What I saw from her was confidence and good decisions, good habits, and like you just, as a player, you just need to see a couple of these things build up, and suddenly it's good momentum, good juju, good confidence, good habits, and it becomes more. It's one step at a time, and I think right now for Jewell, you've really got to be building it one step at a time. Don't look at how big this mountain is to overcome. Just get a couple of wins together. And Becky has talked about that. Get a couple of wins together for her, because she has that in her. We already know who she is.
She does. And for sure, there was like a momentum swinging 2 threes that she made back-to-back in the 3rd quarter that I thought were like really huge, because Dallas was like on a run.
Yeah,
you know? And like she just hit both. And like also on that second one in particular, the defense led to offense. And the Aces are just not having enough of that this year. And so they're just always having to take the ball off the basket.
Well, they're not really defending at a high level this year. And that's been the talking point throughout, right?
Yeah, for sure.
And so, I think coming out of the All-Star break, there's been a little bit of optimism for a season that's been perhaps disappointing.
Yeah.
And the optimism is like, hey, we are a veteran group. We're still right there in the playoff hunt. We know what it takes to win. Like, let's get serious about defense. They have had a little bit of a letdown in their last. They had against the Lynx defensively.
Yeah.
But this was a great bounce back win, even though it was still against kind of a lower tiered team. And it's still an important win for them. And you stack wins.
Agreed.
And I appreciate Becky Hammon, who has been open to new versions of this team. Sometimes when you experience success, like, you want to keep marching the same way, but she's already made different lineup changes. She's made moves. She's been open to, moving people in and out of the starting lineup. And so I think you have to be open in this period to, like, what a new version of a successful Aces team could look like.
Yeah, and I just want to say one thing before we wrap and move on to the next game. That loss to the Lynx, I felt like people really blew that out of proportion. I think it was going to always be hard for them to beat the Lynx. The Lynx are the best team in the league, or at least they have the best record, right? The Liberty might say we're the best, but we've had some things that have interrupted our season. But the Aces were on the second night of a back-to-back on the road. Out the break, they've played the most games so far of any team. Yesterday was their fourth game. Fourth game since Tuesday of last week. So it was always going to be really hard for them to go in there and probably win that game. Could they have maybe given better effort? Sure. I don't know what it's like to have to play. I'm not a professional athlete who has to go in and play back to back, but that was already their third, right, it's tough. And so I just felt like everything that Jewell Loyd was getting, for the output, everything, I just did not love that. I'm I get it, guys. They have definitely struggled this season, but we also have to apply some context here in some of these situations.
Absolutely.
And it, whatever. So I do want to see them do this against some better teams, and they've had some wins against the Mercury and other teams, but I like to see them do it against some better teams consistently for me to maybe start to really believe the Aces are turning around their season.
Yeah.
On the other hand, I just mentioned the Mercury because the Aces did beat them, but the Mercury, they were on a little bit of a skid, a losing skid, and they went into Washington and they got the W. And I'm gonna tell you, honestly, Raj, shamelessly, I love Washington, the Mystics, the rookies, everything they have going on there. And I hope that they can make the playoffs. I think it would be a fun story for them. But I want to shamelessly right now, and I'm saying shamelessly, focus on Alyssa Thomas. Because I don't think AT ever gets enough love. And she was sensational yesterday.
Yeah.
And, she continues to make this MVP race an actual conversation, in my opinion. I think the season started and Fee sort of just was took off, and then Alyssa had some injuries or whatever, so she wasn't playing. But since she's been back, she's been sensational, and the Mercury have been great. And halftime, the game was sort of close with the Mystics, and then the third quarter, she just took over. She was sensational, and I love the way the Phoenix Mercury, their social, the admin.
Yeah.
I like the way they get behind their team. Their tweets a master class.
They're petty and messy
yes.
at the same time.
And they call out the league for not posting their games. But look at this stat line.
What is that? 27, 11, and 8?
Yes.
8? Okay.
A near triple double.
Yeah.
She was just great.
Yeah. Sometimes I feel like it's hard to quantify Alyssa Thomas's impact from season to season. Especially, you really got to watch the games and understand what the team needs. When you think about the storyline and the arc of this Phoenix Mercury team, first of all, they take her personality on. They become her. I think she is the tone setter for toughness, for physicality, for defense. This is a team that has played a lot without all of their stars present. Kalia Copper's missed a lot of this season. Satu Sabli's missed time. Alyssa Thomas has missed time. But she's been carrying a lot of this load. Not only does she come up with her points, but she creates for so many other people. They can run an offense through her. Defensively, the rebounds that she gets, and then she can push the pace and facilitate up-tempo for them. She's often the assist maker to all of those threes. They're a nice three-point shooting team. And I think already what I'm impressed with Phoenix is they've pretty much got a bunch of inexperienced players around her, European players that are in rookie years. Maybe they're older, but they're first time in the WNBA, and they're squeezing everything they can get out of them and squeezing everything they can get out of AT. And when you think about the injuries they've had too, where would this team be without AT?
Yeah.
She's leading the league in assists.
Yep.
And it's really not close. It's 9.5. Then Caitlin at 8.8, but that's still a gap. And then after that, it is step ladders. You've got to take some stairs down to the next couple
As a forward.
Excellent point, as a forward. And she's also averaging a career high in field goal percentage. Like, you know, they were just in New York, so I spoke with her. And AT was saying, like, I was like, how after 11 years in Connecticut, now you're doing career highs in this new place in Phoenix? And she said, well, one, I got a lot of targets. I got a lot of talented players. You know, I got more weapons in some ways.
Yes.
And two, she alluded to is just feeling refreshed. She used the words like there's a happiness being here. Not that it wasn't, she said respect to Connecticut. It was just time for something new.
Yeah, I love that.
So I feel
you
like
can see it.
You can see it.
Listen, my only question, honestly, for the Mercury is like, are they in the same class with the Liberty and the Lynx?
Don't nobody want to see the Phoenix Mercury, and they don't. They need time together.
Yeah.
None of them have played together as far as the big three, or now it's a big four, I guess.
Right, with Dewana.
Yeah, with Dewana. Like, none of them have played together. So, like, their biggest challenge right now is in this next 20 games, or 18, however it is left, to build some chemistry and some rhythm and try to march into those playoffs, because I actually think that if they're healthy and can gain some chemistry, I think they are absolutely a contender.
Yeah, I agree.
I think nobody wants to see the Phoenix Mercury.
I'm really high on that team. I'm really high on them. All right, and so then, like, the final game of the evening was the Atlanta Dream.
Oh, yes.
Versus the Minnesota Lynx.
Oh, child, they held on. They did. Because the Lynx was on their neck like this. So remember I said I think the Liberty ran out of time?
Yeah, this was the same thing.
I think the Lynx ran out of time. If that game went a minute, 45 seconds longer, the Lynx might have came back and got that.
They absolutely would have. And, you know, look, I'm not going to give Atlanta too much slack because they are shorthanded right now. They were without Ryan Howard. But because they have a pattern of, like, these big leads, and they lose them.
Oh, yes.
Right?
I saw it against the Liberty.
Twice. They did it twice.
17 and 19-point lead they've given up against the Liberty.
Right. So I was a little skeptical and didn't trust them to, like, you know, do this.
You didn't believe.
I wasn't sure. But they held on, you know, and I know, like, a big story of their season is the season that Alysha Gray is having and career highs and everything. But look, yesterday was a vintage Brittney Griner game. That's what we got. And I was, like, really happy to see that for her, because that's, like, a weapon right now who I think is, like, almost people are forgetting about, because there's been so much attention on Alysha and Ryan and, like, you know, everyone else.
And Bree Jones had an all-star caliber season so far.
Correct. And, like, and of their core, Brittney Griner was the only one who was not an all-star this year. And so for her to have, like, the kind of game that she did, it just reminds me of, like, how dangerous Atlanta can be. Ryan's defense has been on another level this year. So, look, that was an excellent win. They handed the Minnesota Lynx their first loss at home this season. And while Nafisa Collier was great and did almost everything in her power to will that team to a win, right? This is a big, big win for Atlanta.
Yeah.
But I still have questions, and, like, I think Atlanta's a very good team. You know, I think at a minimum, I want to see them get to the second round, but I'm not sure if they're, like, that top tier of contender.
For me, looking at it, I'm not, given what has been shown on the court this season, I don't think they're at the same tier as the top caliber tiers, but that's okay. That doesn't mean they're not a spicy playoff team that can make noise and also get right when healthy, because, like, when healthy, this is a very good inside-out team. You've got this is a team that can be physical in the paint, that has Brittney Griner, that has Brianna Jones. This is a team that, when healthy, Ryan's back, Alysha Gray is back. They can light it up from three. Jordan Canada is also a very capable scorer. Yeah. Not to mention that guard group. That's a very capable defensive unit. Jordan Canada will get up in your shorts. Ryan Howard will defend the other team's best player. They have a lot of great identity factors that will make them a tough out in the playoffs, you know? And there's a number of role players. I love Naz Hillman. I love her energy. I don't know if you've heard, like, she's a big leader on that team, too. Yeah. Like, I really rock with Atlanta. And to your point, I do want to give BG praise for that game, because I felt that she was very decisive. She posted up inside. She even made a three. But she also made quick, good passes out of crowds and double teams when it came. And so, yeah, like, BG's still that girl. She still got it.
Yep.
Absolutely. And so we saw that game for them. And then, you know, again, other X factors. Tahina, because of injuries, players like Tahina Pau got some time, some confidence, nobody knocked the shot down. And I'd be remiss if I didn't shout out Maya Caldwell, who, while Ryan's been out, has not been a zero, has absolutely come into the starting lineup and delivered some really, high impact plays.
How about Shatori Walker? I mean, like, she was perfect from the field last night. Perfect from the field, like those kinds of contributions in a game like that are really big. So
I say to your answer about like tiers, I think obviously Liberty Lynx. I think, at Phoenix. And then I say Liberty Lynx, Phoenix, and then I think like spicy, interesting teams are like the Fever, are Atlanta,
Seattle.
And then Jekyll and Hyde, Seattle.
Yeah.
Who knows what you're gonna get with them? But when they're good, but you just don't know.
They are
from game to game. But those are my teams that I think are like serious. And then I think the Sparks make the playoffs too. I think they're gonna
overtake Mystics
and the Valkyries maybe.
Yeah, I mean, I think the Valkyries with the injury to KT, it's going to be a lot to overcome. Yeah, so I'm kind of just looking at like the Valks now, but we'll see.
We'll see. We shall see.
Roz, as always, thank you for joining me. This has been great. Y'all make sure you are subscribed and tuned into the WNBA on NBC. Join our channel so you get this great analysis from Roz. We're here every week. Thanks.